Good afternoon, everybody. This is Aryan Kumar Singh, and today I'm here to present my another SDET project presentation. This time I tested Casio India web application. Unlike the previous project, I uploaded this project in GitHub. I will share the link of this repository with you guys in the project description, so kindly reference from there. But for the sake of this video, I will explain my whole project inside my Notion application. So let's begin. You can access the GitHub repository, and my repository will look something like this. I attached all the manual testing deliverables here, and this is my whole, you can say, Maven project here. I have also attached the README file. This README file contains a high-level overview of my whole project, and then my first testing deliverable is test plan. This test plan and other terminologies were explained in my previous video, so you can reference it from there if you are finding some difficulties regarding some terminologies like software testing, automation testing, Java, Maven, and other. So I recommend you to guys to please watch that video first and then move on to this video. You will only be able to understand some technical concepts after it. So now let's move. This was my AUT www.casio.com/in, which I was assigned to test on, and the test plan was my first test deliverable. Let's explain. My project name is Casio India website, and inside this test plan, I again defined my high-level overview of the whole testing operation. This is my AUT, objects, scope. Everything is the same as in the previous project. The testable features in this assignment was homepage, search and filtering, product details, cart management, checkout, contact us, footer, and the rest of the thing remains same. There isn't any much difference. Only the dates have changed. So now let's move on to my another and the most important test deliverable, that is the test scenarios and cases. Here are the whole scenarios listed above which I had performed my testing on. Homepage navigation, product search filtering. There is one thing to notice: the AUT was lacking these two functionalities, cart and checkout. If you hover over this, you will find no cart exists. And if you hover over checkout, you will find again a message, no cart feature exists. So I think there was a severe bug inside this Casio India web application. It lacked an entire functionality, which is very rare inside testing operations. Then contact us, footer section. All gone useful. The third deliverable was bug report. I mentioned the cart and checkout bugs as here. The bug report, I changed the format of this bug report as compared to previous project. It is now looking more interesting, and instead of attaching screenshots as a URL, this time I attached those as a whole image. Inside the whole application, by performing testing, I found a total of 7 bugs, which is listed here in detail. The next deliverable was test summary report. This is, as you know, somehow similar to test plan but contains more details. Here are the total number of defects. Here are total number of test cases, 25, passed, failed, blocked. You can all see it. It was my manual part, so the manual part ended here, and here comes the automation part, inside which I first created my mind map. Uh, then I automated the script. This time I used Selenium instead of Cypress. Selenium is another popular tool inside automation testing industry. If I would say it is more popular and complex than Cypress. Unlike Cypress, where we used to just write our whole test cases inside particular describe and hit blocks, here in Selenium, I described my each page and each test cases. It's like per scenario, I defined one test and one page files. So what these page files are is these page files store functions and variables inside these test cases. So it's like if you have studied a page object model, inside page object model we create a dedicated page for each scenario, and inside those pages we store our grabbed web elements, reusable functions, just to enhance our code beautifulness and to reuse those same functions and reduce the lines of code. So here, what strategy I implemented is I was given a total of 7 scenarios to test on. I created one test file and one page file per scenario. So this was homepage. This homepage page means it is a page file for homepage scenario, and its corresponding homepage test is located here. This whole list is in the form of toggle list. You can open each page file or whatever you say to see the whole code. Then, as you know, Selenium requires every time configuring testng.xml file. So as I have created a lot of test files inside which my code should run, so I should define all those test files inside my testng.xml. So here I defined all the files as classes. I'm basically saying Selenium to execute all these test files whenever I hit mvn-q test command from my terminal. If you will ask me about a single scenario, so let's first explain homepage scenario. Inside homepage file, I tested my application's homepage. I'll show you. Here is the AUT, Casio India website. So it's basically a site selling watches. Inside this home page, I described a lot of test cases, like testing the logos, testing the presence of a company logo, and testing the presence of all those usable elements, checking the links are properly navigable or not. A generic test case was what we use to perform on any homepage website. Here in the page file, I defined several usable functions like valid support. What this function is doing is validating this support link. So whenever I execute this function, the Selenium will, what it will do, it will validate this support link if it is working fine or not, if it is visible, and if it is navigating the user to the intended URL or not. So as you can see in the lower left corner of the screen, it is showing something like /support, which means the link is properly navigable. If I click in this link, I will redirect it to the intended support page. In this way, I created several other reusable functions like validate corporate. Wherever inside the whole test case will you execute this validate corporate function, it will verify this corporate link button, whether it is properly present, displayed, enabled, navigated or not. And if this assert element function, this assert element function is describing, it is basically using expat expression. So this assert element expression looks an expat expression, and its job is to assert that element. So whatever expat expression you will give, it will assert the presence of that element. So for example, if I give the expat expression of this company logo, what is its expat expression? Let me see first. Okay, you can consider it as a href/in or on clicks as object header logo. Whatever expat expression you will give regarding this DOM element, this function will verify its existence. If it is displayed properly in the domain, it will assert it as true. Another function is type and search, and in this way, I created a lot of functions which can be reused or used anytime we want. So let me show you how those are used. Inside homepage test, where I actually defined the test cases inside in an automated way, I use several functions which I have defined in the homepage page file. For example, this first function setup is setting up my Chrome driver. I have also applied implicitly wait, which is basically telling the Selenium script to wait for some specific seconds whenever all the elements inside that particular DOM is able to interact. So it's like whenever a single element will fail to load inside the whole Selenium script, or any element is taking some time longer to load as compared to other elements, the Selenium script will wait for that element. It's like, okay, bro, you load it first and then I will run. This is called implicit wait. The second function where I define my @test, it is test entry annotation, which is telling the user or Java that this particular function is a test case. It should be considered as a test case. The name of the function is header links. I call the validate support and then navigate it back, then again call validate corporate. So basically, I am in this test case, I am asserting all these two buttons are working fine or not. And then in again another test case, I'm asserting an element. I basically give that assert element function an expat expression, and I'm telling it to assert if it is present or not. In this way, I used several other functions, like this is the most interesting one, type and search. Wherever throughout the test case, I will call this function. It will just click into this element and type whatever I will give. In the very last, I define my teardown, which is doing nothing but to tear down my whole browser instance, which has been opened by Selenium. I also applied thread.sleep 2000. It is a hard weight. So weights are of basically two kinds inside Selenium. The first one is hard weight. The second one is soft weight. Inside hard weight, we apply thread.sleep, and inside soft weight, we have two options. The first one is implicit weight, which I have shown you just a moment ago. The second one is explicit weight. First, let me explain you hard weight. So this thread.sleep, what it is doing is housing the whole Selenium script for 2000 milliseconds, which means 2 seconds. And on the other side, we have implicit weight, which is a little different, or you can say a little advanced as compared to this hard sleep. And we have another one that is explicit weight, which is the most advanced weight we have in Selenium. So how it is different from soft weight is what soft weight does. It waits for specified seconds, or it waits for all the elements to load properly and then execute the function. Whereas if we apply explicit weight, the explicit weight only holds the Selenium script to wait for a single web element. If our targeted web element appeared and it is ready to be interacted by the script will start executing. It doesn't care about what other elements are doing. So if we want to wait for a single element, we should use explicit wait. If we want to wait for the whole elements to be loaded properly, we should use implicit wait. And in the next code line, I wrote driver.quit, which is closing all the browser instances all these test cases has opened, and flushing out the whole script. Inside this, just like this method or fashion, I had defined all the page files related to my website scenario and all the test files corresponding to those page files. That's it. That was my whole testing project. If you found this interesting, do like, comment, and share. And if not, at least I want you to share my GitHub repository to your fellow developers or testers. They may have anything to share.